Okay, welcome back. And sorry. So over the past 2 years, we have learned about sustainable development and practical action to contribute to the protection of the earth and our environment. This school year has been a very special year for all of us since we have to face so many changes and challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. More than ever, we must understand the most important values of ourselves and the community so that we can join hands to rebuild a more beautiful and meaningful life. To help our students understand more about this and prepare themselves with a strong spirit to be ready to face all the challenges in life. This year's Fast Talk program is organized with the theme Renovation Based on True Values. So, to start its sessions, I would like to invite Mr. Nigel, Inclusive Cluster School Director of the campus Sunrise in Riverside, to have a few words with our students about this topic.
Thank you so much. Xin Chao, good afternoon, everyone. I hope we're all keeping safe and well. Let me add my welcome to all of you for this year's VAS Talks, students, teachers, senior leaders, maybe some parents, and of course, our special guest speakers. This is my first ever VAS Talks, and I'm so excited to be part of what promises to be a wonderful event. This is a real opportunity to hear from our special guests on their views and their experiences. So it's really important that we listen to them and remain attentive. So make sure you're in a place where you won't be distracted, so you can fully concentrate and actively listen. I think these talks are so important, as it's an opportunity to learn. The idea of VAS Talks is based on TED Talks, where experts in a number of fields present to large audiences their views. I watch a lot of these on the subject of education, and many of them are truly inspiring. And I hope that you were inspired by your speakers today. This year's theme, as we've just heard, is all about renovation based on true values. You will have heard Mr. Marcel in the opening ceremony giving an example of how trees can renovate. Let me give you another example that's in the news at the moment. You may or may not have seen it, but let me try and explain what's going on. In La Palma, a Spanish island, just off the west coast of Africa, there's a volcano erupting. It's been erupting now for several weeks. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but if you get a chance, have a look at those pictures. Molten lava is spewing out of the volcano at great height. Rivers of lava are running down the volcano and destroying everything in their paths. Houses are going up in flames. People's possessions and houses lost forever. Cars exploding. It's a terrifying wonder to behold. What do I mean by terrifying wonder? Well, if you just look at the volcano erupting, it is simply amazing to imagine that there's molten rock coming up from the Earth's centre and spewing hundreds of meters into the air. The rivers of red hot lava running down the volcano looks truly spectacular. But when you see the damage it does, that's when I mean terrifying. So that's terrifying wonder. To me, renovation is all about looking forward. You can look back, and there are always lessons to be learned, but there's no point in looking back at what you may have lost. Nothing is going to bring back the people of La Palma's possessions, houses, cars. However, by looking forward, you can renovate. The volcano will stop erupting, and with this comes hope. The people of La Palma will rebuild their houses. They'll replace their possessions, and although in many ways their lives have been changed forever, they will have, perhaps, an even better life in the future. The lava has now reached the sea, forming new land that maybe in time become new places to live and work and relax. The people of La Palma will renovate and be successful in the future. With resilience and the right attitude, they will have fantastic new opportunities ahead of them. This is completely relatable to the COVID pandemic. There's no point, in my view, in the world looking back, except, as I said, to learn some lessons. We must look forward. We must look at new opportunities our changed world will give us. We have learned some new skills in the pandemic that maybe we would never have learned if there had not been one. Vietnam will come out of the pandemic even stronger and will continue to thrive and flourish. So my message is look forward with hope and excitement. Things may have changed, but there will be many new exciting things to come in our lives. Dear students, you are the future of Vietnam. You are the leaders of the future. Let's all be inspired by our special guests. I hope you enjoy the talks, and we all hope to see you back on campus as soon as possible. Thank you. Come on.
Wow. So thank you for your inspiring story and the meaningful sharing, Mr. Nigel. Wow, that's so inspiring. And we also welcome our guest speaker to our sections. We have been involved in social activities for many years and have achieved remarkable achievements. And she's here today to share her knowledge and experience with all of us. Please give a big applause online to welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Thuyên Hương, co-founder of the Sales Sondong. Please share a little bit about yourself and say hello to our students.
Hi, thank you so much, VAS, and thank you so much to Mr. Vaughan Copley as well as Hallie for welcoming me. This is my third year coming back to VAS Talk, so I'm really excited. I probably have seen a lot of you guys in the past, and I'm excited to come back and talk to you guys during a very special time like today. This is my very first time having this talk, not being able to see you guys, so that's very sad, but I hope that you're going to continue sending in your questions so that we can interact. So like Hallie has briefly introduced me, I am, let's see, I am an educator by day and an activist by night. So I'm currently working at the Admissions and Financial Aid Office of Fulbright University, Vietnam, where I get to read stories from thousands and thousands of students from all over the country who want to apply to Fulbright. And then by night, I change myself and turn myself into an environmental activist. I'm working on a campaign to save the world's largest cave, which happened to locate in Vietnam, in our own country, and it's called Sơn Dòng. Now, for those of you who haven't had a chance to visit the cave yet, I'm pretty sure they don't allow kids in yet, but I really hope that you're going to be able to explore this place one day because it is a beautiful place and it is our heritage. So yeah, I really hope my talk today can inspire you to care a little bit more about the environment.
Perfect. So thank you, Ms. Hu, for your brief introduction. And yeah, for sure, you should know about the horse, right? So this is my third time to be here too, as same as Ms. Hu. And people around know me well as a modeling or entrepreneur and also advocate. And yeah, for your information, at the moment, I do modeling and manage two businesses. The in concept, a green destination to fulfill your heart in like Diary Free Station, where you can find any environmental friendly product and refill bottles. Besides that, 2 years, I also a creative impact director of Sống Foundation, a non-profit organization with two programs. One is Hạnh Phúc Xanh Green Happiness. We aim to plant more trees across Vietnam. And the second one is called Nhà chống lũ, Resilient Housing. We try to helping low-income families to build houses for protection from the flood. So, all right, and let's get started with the topic today. And before we go deeper into it, I have a wonder that the phrases true value on renovation somehow sound a little bit abstract in our daily life. But it's not, right? So hi, Ms. Thương, how do you understand and apply it in everyday life? Can you give us some examples that are familiar to our students?
Okay. So when I think of the word true values, I usually use another word that I think it's a little bit easier for students to imagine, which is core values. So your core is basically your belly, right, kids? And when your PE teacher at school usually tell you to engage your cores when you do a difficult exercise. So your core, the values that coming from your core is basically the values from within. Now, you guys, according to the introduction from BAS, I know that you guys are between like 14 years old to 17 years old, which means you're no longer a kid, but you're not exactly an adult yet. There are a lot of values that your parents, your teachers, the people around you try to influence you, try to teach it to you. But I really think core values is something that you feel within yourself, maybe with or without the influences from other people. As an educator myself, I cannot teach my students to be compassionate, to feel sad when they see a puppy in pain. But those are the kind of things that I would expect my students would feel from within themselves. So overall, I think true values is basically anything that you hear from within yourself, and it guides you to modify your behavior on a daily basis.
Yes, I totally agree with Mason about like those things very common and simple, like for example, like the belly when we think about the core value. And how about Mr. Nigel? Can you please share your own experience about renovation or new changes in your daily life? For example, for your family during the lockdown period.
Well, you know what? I wish my family was here with me. I spent the last 3 months in my apartment with my cat, so it's been pretty tricky. But I think, honestly, I think everybody's found the lockdown really difficult, really challenging. For me, I like to exercise. It might not look like it, but I do. And I think for me, the biggest thing was not being able to go outside, or do any running or do any walking. But you know, I look at challenges in terms of what's the solution to that. So you know, what did I do? You know, you can't go out. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm a little bit lucky. I'm a bit fortunate. My apartment block is quite empty at the moment. So on my floor, there is just me and there's a corridor. So rather than walking and running outside, I spent my evenings running up and down the corridor, maybe 200 or 300 times. And it's not the same, but it's something. And then I thought, oh, let me. I've heard of this guy called Joe Wicks. He's very popular in the UK and other countries. I'm not sure if we know of him here, but he did a lot of videos for lockdown, for exercise in the lockdown in the UK. So I started watching those. So the one thing that I think is that you can learn lessons and you can learn new things that you can use now. So even though I can now go outside, I will carry on doing these exercise videos. Although I just recently hurt my shoulder, so I'll have to give it a little bit longer now. But that's how you need to adapt. You need to look at a challenge as an opportunity, and that's what I have done. I've also started to cook. I mean, I always cooked anyway. Been a little bit tricky to get certain ingredients, I have to say. So what do? You think, well, I haven't got this one, so I'll try this one. Some, honestly speaking, I always ate them, but they were a disaster, not very nice at all. Others, I found that I've got new recipes that are really good, so I can use them again and again and again. So out of the challenge came an opportunity to make new and different dishes. So I think the message for me is it's all about adapting to the current circumstances and doing your best to come up with innovative solutions, and always at the back of your mind, knowing that things are going to get better, things are going to improve. You know, Vietnam's going to overcome this pandemic. We might live with COVID, but we're always going to overcome it. You can already see that in many of the wards in Ho Chi Minh, things have changed dramatically. We're allowed outside. My next goal, not a very big goal, is to run maybe a 5 or 10K race. I'm way off that at the moment. Who knows? It might even be the green run. That is my debut of running in a competition. But yeah, that's how I look at renovation, looking at a challenge as an opportunity and adapting to the circumstance.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nigel. I totally agree with you. Like we do, like during the lockdown, we have a chance to see that. Like for example, perhaps we used to think that we had to go outside to do something, but now we do have to stay home. Like for example, we have to stay home for like 3 or 4 months now, right? But yeah, we're still alive, right? Because we still see the solution every day. So the value somehow just pop up right away when we put into the cave and think, what can I do? And then we still have a solution to do it, right? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Natural.
No problem.
And for myself, I think like students, right? When I was your age, I definitely, if somebody asked me about renovation or true value, I couldn't answer for real because those words sound like a big concept. And if we have time to rethink and be conscious about it, like for example, Mr. Nature and Miss Hun just said, think about during the lockdown, right? We will find it is the engine for your mind and your body to take action. And for now, how do we define good or not? And how can we renovation balance true value? So that's why we are here today, right? Okay, let's move on. And students, let's continue to ask an interesting question to our speaker with the QR code in the background. And at the end of the sections, we will choose the most interesting question to discuss. Okay, and now we understand about renovation and true value. So what is renovation based on true value? Okay, Miss Hương, how do you find it and define this at the moment?
Okay, so to me, obviously the first step is you have to identify what are your true values, and then based on that, you can decide what to do, right? For example, at Fulbright, one of the criteria, one of the characteristics from applicants that we're looking for is intellectual curiosity. Are students curious about the world around them? Now, that is, again, something that you cannot just teach a kid. Yes, you can help them to find their curiosity. Like if a kid is really into science, you can put them in a lab and teach them a few tricks, let them experiment. But still, that comes from within the child, him or herself. Now, if you are somebody who consider yourself intellectually curious, one thing that you can do during those COVID time or these days is that you can learn something new. I really like languages, for example. And during the past few months, I started to look back at the languages that I've learned in the past, but I gave up on. Like English is the only language, English and Vietnamese are the only two languages that I can speak. But I've learned French in high school. I learned Spanish in college. I learned a little bit of Japanese when I was dating this Japanese guy, but I never used them. So why don't we actually spend time to focus on just one language and try to master it? In the past few months, I've been studying French on Duolingo, a free app that anybody can access. I think it's fun, it's competitive, it's challenging, and it's a tiny thing that I spend probably maximum an hour a day on, but it's helping me to coming closer to my true value, which I consider important, like my ability to learn, my self-development. Those are things that I treasure for myself.
Yeah, definitely. So value is something not just happen in the future, something is right now. So when you say about value, you was give us the example about the time, right? Like you used to learn a lot of languages and because maybe you have a boyfriend from Japan, but then you find out you have to master it, right? So it's something for now. But according to you, at the age of students, for example, what are the most important true value that they need to pay attention to? So why are these values are so essential into the fluctuate situation nowadays?
Hmm. I think there is one value that more and more important, that becoming more and more important, especially in these COVID times. And again, it is also one of the criteria that Fulbright use to assess our applicants, which is caring for others. I think caring for others is an important one because COVID shows us how the world is becoming smaller, not bigger. Um, like 100 years ago when we had the Spanish flu, it happened somewhere else. It didn't happen in Vietnam. Or like a few years ago when we had Ebola, it happened in Africa. Nobody cares. It's in some corners of the world. It's not here with us. But COVID changed that completely. As you can see, why so many countries have been sending Vietnam vaccines, because they realize that as long as there's still one country somewhere in this world that's suffering from COVID-19, the whole world is suffering. So the fact that the world is becoming smaller and smaller shows to us that we need to care for each other more and more. And I'm going to bring this problem back to the students' age. You guys are growing up. When you guys were babies, all you need to care about is your own needs, is your own demands. If you're hungry, you cry so that your mother can feed you. You don't care whether she had a long day at work. But now that you're growing into an adult, maybe it's time for you to start caring for others. And let's start with the closest ones around you, your parents, or maybe they had a long day at work. So instead of crying for food, maybe I should cook them some dinner sometimes. You should start caring for your teachers. Oh, they spend the whole day teaching in front of a computer. That must be hard. If learning in front of a computer is hard for you, it definitely is hard for your teachers too. So send them a message from time to time, asking how they're doing, checking in with them. Those tiny actions actually can speak volume. So me personally, I would think that caring for others is a true value that I hope that a lot of students have.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Sometimes we think about value like I see the reflection. If we want to see our true value, we have to do something. For example, take care of the other. Like for now, if you stay home, you have more time with your family, even your friends. You have time to connect with everyone, and somehow you can see them respond and see your value, right? And for me, actually, when I think about renovation based on true value, I think about like we do have a picture of our life with many parts in the next like 5, 10, or 20 years. But and the scenario is could be like, okay, now you may be 12 and then you're 18, you go to the college and you graduate, you have a career and you get married and have a baby. Or even if those aren't your vision, you have to do the same thing every day, every time, even now. It is decision making. And value is simply an internal principle that guides your decision. It's also a standard representing for who you are in this society, in your community, or sometimes just yourself. And if you want to change your world, you must internalize good value or true value. Because the world is not something like macro pictures. It could be a nano pictures like how you want to change your family habit or even your school or your class, right? Like for example, we talk a lot about sustainable environment, like how we can protect environment by reduce the plastic waste, or even we try to let meat every day at every meal we have. And renovation is something like the phase that happen when you don't want to do for good because you want to change for good because the world is still moving and people will changing, right? The circumstance and context of what we see today will switch into like 3 years ago we didn't expect the pandemic, right? And now we have to face it every day and every time and thinking about it. So maybe in the future we may have a good and bad ways. Or for example, we have the causes of for now, like in the world about the population, the plastic, disaster, pandemic. So renovation is something you have to think before it. Like if things could happen in the future and you already have you know your true value well, so you just base on it and use the renovation right time right now. Yeah. So to understand further on this spirit, I would like to hear the sharing from Mr. Nigel. Hello, Mr. Nigel. Yeah. So, Harsha, in the system of 7 course value of fast student, what value should students focus on promoting with the themes of this year?
Well, I'd just like to completely agree with what's just been said. I think, the caring for others is so important. I was actually going to start by talking about empathy. Empathy for others is just such a good true value. And I think the pandemic's really brought that home to many of us. I mean, I'm sitting in my apartment here overlooking the Riverside, overlooking Salah campus, actually. And, I must say a few weeks ago, feeling very sorry for myself, but actually You know, my position is so privileged compared to so many during that pandemic, and it's still carrying on now. We mustn't forget that. And you suddenly realize that, you know, you've really got to think how others are struggling. If you can help them, then we must. You know, I mean, I was fortunate enough to be able to help out in some small way in some of our community here. And I completely agree with what's just been said. You know, help your families, help your mum and dad, send those nice messages to your teachers, because it is tough, you know, and have some empathy. Think about what others are thinking. It's a fantastic human quality, in my opinion, and a real true value. I think, you know, we've got to all be this together, to be honest with you. We talk, one of our core values is national pride. And I think this is a real time to show that national pride, you know, by all pulling together, joining hands and working to be successful. And I urge you all, please, although we can now go out in most places, and I know some of you maybe still can't go outside, I am aware of that, but let's keep sensible, yeah, because we're on the right track. The vaccination program has been really successful, and we all want to get back to school. You know, we've just done a wellbeing survey in the secondary school, as Sunnyside secondary students will know, and one of the key things is they want to come back to campus. You know, they really do. So by all working together, getting that sense of national pride, listening to the government, and basically doing what we're told to get us out of this, that will get us there. So I think, you know, we're going to beat the pandemic. It will still be there, but we're going to be able to live with it. And we're going to be successful. And we will be the best that we can be. But we must all work together with that sense of pride. So that's a real key thing in the core values for me. And again, it was touched on just now, the idea of friendship. Again, looking at our wellbeing survey, one of the other major things that comes out with is I miss my friends. Of course you do. You know, we all, you know, I miss my friends. It's not the same online. I mean, the one thing I will say, can you imagine this pandemic before things like Teams or WhatsApp or Yellow or Viber, where we couldn't actually see one another or we couldn't message one another? Can you imagine what that would have been like? You know, you mentioned the Spanish flu, that kind of isolation with literally nobody to talk to, no contact with the outside world must have been so difficult. So we need to work on that friendship and look out for one another. And that again comes back to empathy. But I think teamwork as well. Look, guys, I've been in a lot of your lessons. You might not always notice, but I do go to quite a lot of them. And I see you talking together, helping one another out. And that teamwork is so important. It's so important now because you can feel very alone. So make sure as we carry on with the online learning that you're helping other people out. You're inviting them to take part in the lesson, urging them to participate so that they can be successful. Be nice to your friends. You know, I must admit, the one thing that struck me when I came to Vietnam, actually, I've only been here just over a year, as I keep going on about, is the warmth of the society. And in particular, you guys, our students. You know, I've never met such a wonderful bunch of students that are so friendly towards each other. It's quite incredible. So keep that spirit up. Keep doing that. It's so important. And it's easy to lose confidence in your abilities. It really is. You know, when you're online, if you don't understand something, it's easy to just give up. But I know you guys, you don't do that. You don't do that. So even when you don't understand, even when you don't completely finish the task, I want you to think like this. I really do. Don't think I couldn't do it negatively. Think about what you did achieve positively. That's confidence. That's the way you will build real confidence. Don't think I can't do it, but do think I can't do it yet, because you will be able to do it with the right support from your teachers, your friends. You will succeed. Look, learning is a journey. It really is. And like any other journey, to make a start, You have to take the first step. Then you are on your way. Think of someone training for a marathon. You might not believe it, but I've actually run the London Marathon twice. Might have been a few years ago. Yeah, could probably manage about 2K at the moment. But even though it's a 42-kilometer race, you can't just run a 42-kilometer race. You can't go outside your front door today and run 42 kilometers. Of course you can't. But your training starts with that first step. Yeah, so my training has started, not for a marathon, I hasten to add, but maybe for a 5 or 10K, as I mentioned, with a couple of very, very slow runs over the last couple of days outside. And you might need some help. You might need a coach. Your teacher is your coach. Your friends can be your coach. Yeah, and that way you will be on your journey. So just to emphasize, to build your confidence, don't think I can't do it. That's negative. You can think I can't do it yet, but think about what you did achieve and how you are on your journey. Yeah, just as an aside, it was really interesting there to hear how many languages you can speak. Oh my God, English, Vietnamese, Spanish, French, and a bit of Japanese, which we won't go into. But you know, I'm in awe because I speak English. I'm lazy. That's the only language I can speak. Yeah, and I'm in awe at all of you, all of our students. You know, it's incredible. You're studying in a language that is not your native language, and you are absolutely destroying the world averages in all your subjects. Yeah, and that includes native English speakers. So you should be very proud of yourselves, yeah? And that comes from confidence in your ability. So keep it up, please. Thank you.
Wow, Miss Hương, do you want to say something?
Well, I think that was very inspiring and definitely like Mr. Vaughan Cropley, you inspired me. I'm pretty sure the students can feel the same. Earlier, when you were just talking about the eruption, the volcano eruption in La Palma, I looked it up. I didn't know about it. I had no idea. And I looked it up and it looked so sad, but like you said, it also looked promising. When something is destroyed, you know something is about to grow. You know something new is gonna be blooming there, and you see hope and you see future. And I think that's what I mean. I would love to be able to do what you just did to the students, which is to inspire them, to give them hope, to let them see that out of this very sad days that we're going through, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, right. And when I listening to the Mr. Nature story, you remind me of the story of my friend living in the United States. Because we know that from the US they did go through the pandemic like for a year before us. And my friend says when they start to traveling again, the first thing pop in their mind like, wow, it's been a time, and then they feel so fortunate and lucky to have that feeling again, meeting people in person, heart to heart, not online like this, because we just see something online, the computer every day from the morning to the evening. And he says to me that what we have learned from this maybe is about awareness. We think about the awareness, it's just like everything's happened in the world from the pandemic give us a chance. No matter where you're from, no matter where you live now, but get us to the same page of the awareness. But not awareness of the pandemic myth only. It's also about awareness of yourself too. Like, oh, I have my family beside me. I also have my friends who it's been a long time we didn't talk together, but it's now a chance to talk to them. Or even like when I have been in the house like for 3 months, I do have chance to talk to everyone live in the apartment, right? Take care of them, and they also take care of me too. I feel so overwhelmed of love too. So I think, yeah, from now, value is something not really big for you guys to think, okay, what can I do in the next 5 years or 10 years? Value is something you can do and take action now. Think about something everything happen in the moment that you can do and take care of yourself too. Okay, so with all the advice from the speaker, I think they're very interesting and useful lesson for us to apply right in the school year or even in your life, bring out the best result. And it must be said that the COVID-19 pandemic is unexpected and our lives have been disturbed by and changed a lot. All all of our students sitting here also need to prepare spirit and highly adaptability in the ability to improvise to be ready to enter the new normal life. So could you please share more specific situation that the student can apply to renovate their lives and those around them? Mitsu?
Um, okay. Well, one thing that I can apply, I think like right this weekend is buy a new book, read a new book. Oh, well, actually, you don't need to buy a new book. I think books are the best things to gift and re-gift and exchange. So read something new. There are also so many books available online, so many interesting podcasts that you can listen to. Write a book review, probably. I mean, another shout out to Fulbright. We are running a book club for high school students. So if you're interested in joining our book club, we this week I think we're featuring a podcast by Professor Raj Chetty, the youngest economist from Harvard University. And he has a very interesting podcast on education inequality that we are featuring this week, that we're going to be having a book discussion in probably 2 weeks. So if those are the kind of things that you're interested in, make sure that you look out for those materials. And I'm pretty sure Fulbright is not the only school that is giving out free materials. I've seen so many online courses from universities all the way in the US, the UK, in Canada, Australia that you can sign up for and study for free when you're sitting in Vietnam, right? So start doing something fun with your life. Start exploring something that you feel like you're stepping out of your comfort zone. But I guarantee with you, the journey will be fun and the journey will be exciting.
Yeah, sure. Because perhaps we stay home and just saying so boring because now we have a podcast both online and even cost free, so we can join. Like because if we get back to normal, we gonna say, oh, I don't have time to do it. But right now we have time to do it, right? And we can earn it from now. We don't have to wait anything. Just like Mr. Nature say, we just can't do it yet. So kill the yet and do it now, right? And it's true that there are lots of everyday situations that require children to share their true value and be flexible in how they improvise. So how can we practice and constantly develop those good value, good value? So, Ms. Hun, do you have any tip to show students to practice it every day?
So one thing that I do for myself, again, like I'm speaking on my perspective, it might be applicable to you, might be not, I'm sorry, but I do keep a journal with me. And my journal used to be a physical one where I carry a little notebook with me, but these days, since I'm on my computer all the time, all of my journals are online in a private account. I don't like I know a lot of people like have a blog where they actually share everything that they think and everything that they're learning, which is all good. Me personally, I like something more private, so I do keep like a private journal online, and it helps me to see myself growing over time. And I think seeing that growth is very rewarding. Again, I'm not gonna sit for a French test in a few months, but I'm studying French. Just the fact that I see I'm moving along the language tree that doing lingo shows me every day is rewarding in itself. And I would advise you guys, if you haven't had a journal, either physical or digital yet, maybe give that a try.
Yeah, totally agree. And I do love a quote like what you think you believe and what you believe you become. So yeah, for now, if you don't know what is your true value, just get started with what you think because I believe that maybe even when we are a baby until now we might maturity, um, We do have it, we just not yet determine it. And if you know it, it definitely is become who you are, right? And because I believe that your value are what determine your behavior and decision, and a good or true value will positively impact your life and that of those around you. And people are always willing to trust you. For example, in your class, when you want to say something, you need to have a voice. But before you have a voice, you have to believe what you're gonna say, right? And if you want to do for good and change for good, definitely people will listen to you. And good value or true value also allow you to help others and care for them too. Okay, thank you for your so meaningful, inspiring sharing, Miss Hương. And now is a part of Q&A. And let's get started with the Q&A. So in this section on the topic of renovation based on true value, we have just gone through three points. First, familiar example relate to your everyday life. Second, the definition and meaning of themes, renovation beyond true values. And last, the specific situation and practical action that students can do to promote the spirit, along with training tips so that you can be ready to face difficulties in life. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the Q&A
Miss Helly,
that.
can I just say a couple more things
Yeah,
that
sure.
just come to me as I've been sitting here. So I said that, you know, it was an opportunity to learn new things, and it's just occurred to me that all our students have learned new things. You know, obviously they've learned their study content, but they've learned new things on how to communicate through Teams. They've learned how to use new programs like Padlet and online whiteboards. And you know what? They may never have done that if it wasn't for COVID. You know, it might be something that you've learned that you will take for the rest of your life. And I think it's a personal opinion. All right. So, you know, it's my opinion. But I think Vietnam particularly will change for the better. It was already an incredibly friendly place. But honestly, since we've been allowed to go out, I've been smiling like this. Yeah, because I can't stop smiling because it's such a relief. And I have a feeling that memory of what it was like during lockdown, etc., will stay with me forever. And I'll always look forward to what we can now achieve. Okay, you know, we never know. It might not. We might go into lockdown again. It is possible. Let's face facts. But we now know what it feels like to come out of lockdown. Because I've got a lot of friends in the UK and they're now travelling around. They're going on holiday. Yeah, I mean, this is hope. Yeah, and this is what we've got to look forward to. So I just wanted to give our students that kind of message that although I keep talking about looking forward, you're not going to forget what it was like to do this online study. Yeah, you know, you are the only generation that has done this. Yeah, it will go in history books. Yeah, the next generation of students will learn about COVID. They will, and what it was like. So look forward, of course, with excitement and happiness. But part of that happiness that you're going to feel is a result of what you've been through. So although it's been awful and many people have died, there is a positiveness in terms of the way forward that we should all keep hold of. And I hope we keep it for the rest of our lives. I really do. I hope we don't ever lose sight of how lucky we are to be part of this wonderful society and part of the world. It's exciting. You know, really think like that, please. Sorry.
No, it's so meaningful. Yeah, I hopefully that every student here can send a big applause online for Mr. Nature. You have sharing so much thing that touched my heart. Okay, so let's get started with the Q&A. And hello, IT team, can you open the Q&A that all the students have sent previously? So we will choose out the most interesting one to discuss today. So many. So many. Okay, so I'm gonna pick the first question from Nguyễn Võ Tường Âm. Okay, I will read Vietnamese first and then translate a little bit for Mr. Nigel. Liệu chúng ta có vượt qua được đợt dịch này không? Vì em nghĩ là đợt dịch này sẽ không kết thúc và chúng ta sẽ phải chấp nhận sống với nó mãi mãi. Đại dịch khó khăn này đã được 5 tháng rồi và em vẫn thấy là vẫn có ca nhiễm và không giảm. Và ngày nào em cũng thấy có khoảng 3.000 đến 6.000 ca nhiễm. Việc học online thì em vẫn chấp nhận được vì bây giờ chúng ta không thể tới trường. Vaccine thì trẻ em cũng đã sắp có rồi thì vậy nên là em có một câu hỏi là khi nào chúng ta quay lại trường? Okay. So Mr. Nigel, a student asked about like we have been through the pandemic, right? And it's been like 5 months, but the matter for her is the cases is still increasing every day, like 3,000 or 6,000 cases. And they get used to with the online study. That doesn't matter. But what she matter is like when will they have chance to go back to school?
Sorry, who asked the question?
So the question is she asked like when will they have
I
chance
heard
to
the question. Who asked it? Which student?
Nguyễn Võ Tường An from Sunrise for
Okay,
class 4-2. Yeah.
Right. So really, thank you for that question. You know what? I can't wait to get back to school. I can't. You know, I really can't. I mean, you know, part of the reason I went into the profession is to be amongst students and, you know, get that buzz that you get in campus. I wish I knew. I really do wish I knew. The situation is changing day by day. In fact, the statistics that I get show the cases are falling, actually. I mean, they went up a little bit today. I think it will depend on the vaccination program, for one, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it will depend how the numbers continue to rise or go down. I think it will depend on what we can do at campus to make it safe. But I'm like you, I can't wait to get back. I don't know when that will be. I'm full of hope that it will be this semester, but I'm also realistic that it might not be. And ultimately, we have to take the government's advice. There's nothing more that we can do. But trust me, FAS and Sunnyside are doing everything we can to make the campuses safe. So as soon as we can get back. All our staff, just so you know, they're nearly all double vaccinated, just a few more to go. So that's a real positive. So we're ready. I've got my green certificate. We're lucky because they concentrated on schools first. So, you know, understandably, I mean, I feel a bit privileged, to be honest with you, because I'm not from Vietnam, but because I work in the school, I've already got mine, which sometimes I find a bit hard to deal with when I know that many Vietnamese people don't have theirs. But, you know, I think it's because we're in schools. So like I said, we want to get back, trust me. And as soon as we can, we'll be back.
But it seems like a lovely question that represents what the student thought about. They really miss the school and want to get back to school as much as possible, and well, even the teachers too.
You know, Helly, I don't know if you've ever been to the campuses, but you know, you come to Sunnyside, and you'll see why. It's a very friendly atmosphere. It's really nice.
Yeah, I want to go back to school too. Hopefully I can get younger. Okay, let's go. Miss Hun, do you want to answer this question or not? Because you work for Fulbright too.
Yeah, we in the exact same position as Mr. Nigel just said. I live literally 5 minutes away from campus, and I haven't been to campus for the past 4 months. I miss it so much. And to be honest, one day I did pass by the school to pick up a book, but the campus doesn't feel the same without the students. It's so empty. It almost feels haunted because all the empty classrooms, all the upside down tables and chairs, it looks so sad. And I can't wait to have our students back too. And we in exactly the same position. We are hoping that all of our students can be fully vaccinated before we resume in-person teaching. Hopefully will be before Christmas, but it's I can't say anything for sure either.
Yeah, just half, right? Okay, let's move to the number 2, the question. Alright, so from Phú Khang. Bạn Phú Khang lớp 5.3 từ Sunrise. Trong this đại dịch mọi thứ đều không được cân bằng, và nhất là khi cách thức dần dần trở nên bình thường thì giá của nhiên liệu bị tăng giá thì làm thiệt hại đến cộng đồng. Và em rất muốn biết là cách nào để có thể khắc phục được cái này, chị có thể giải quyết giúp em được không? Okay. Hi, Nigel. The English from these questions is like from the pandemic, everything's unbalances, especially when the way crime rate becomes normal and the price of the fuels go up, like from the resources is like high prices, and causing the damage to the community. So he really wants to know the way to fix it. How can we solve it? It seems like economic question, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely right. I mean, if you look at what's happening in the UK, which is where I'm from at the moment, they've got a problem on their hands because the economy is opening up, and because it was about the economy, the question, yeah? Ellie?
Pardon? Sorry.
The question was about the economy.
Yeah, about the economy because
exactly. Yeah. So it is a challenge. So if you look at what's happening in the UK, they've got supplies, but they've got a lorry driver shortage. So they can't get the supplies to the shops, which is problem number one. On top of that, they can't get the petrol, the fuel, the gas, whatever you want to call it, to the gas stations. So even if they could get the lorry drivers, they can't get the gas. But it will change. But I mean, I think, you know, for me, it's been a sad time in many ways, because when I first got here, you know, Vietnam was all open, the restaurants were open. I was going around Ho Chi Minh thinking, wow, this is fantastic. And now, you know, I went out on Monday evening on my little motorbike around District 2, and it was busy. It was busier than I thought, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. But what was still sad was to see all the shutters down on so many of the shops and so many of the restaurants. And I think, unfortunately, some of those are lost forever. I don't think they will ever come back, because people have lost their business, you know, and it's a real shame. We went through this. I spent 14 years in Dubai, and we went through a similar thing in Dubai. And, you know, you saw people who built business for 20 years losing everything and having to go back home. And it was truly, truly sad. But in the spirit of renovation, those new businesses opened again with different owners, maybe selling different products. So Vietnam, as we all know, was and still is one of the economies set to flourish the most in the world. And believe you me, when we can open up, that will happen. Yeah, there's been no tourism apart from internal tourism for what? I think a year and a half or something crazy. Just imagine what's going to happen when that opens up. You know, businesses are going to go boom. So, okay, when lockdown is over, it's going to take some time. It's not going to go, we're back to normal. Businesses are bang. It's going to take some time. But believe you me, in the short to medium term, they will grow very, very quickly. The property market will take off. Tourism will take off. And you guys, yeah, you're the future, students. You've got a massive opportunity here to get involved and be part of this flourishing economy that is going to be simply amazing in the future. And you're going to be at the forefront of it. Such an exciting opportunity for you, really is.
Yes, and also because I think that some of the students think about the price has changed and the cost is also because I think perhaps we think that it's bad, but we have to understand because the supply chain and everything has started and it make the cost much higher. That's why we have that price. But
that's right.
yeah,
Prices will automatically go up at the moment because things are scarce. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But it's only short term. You know, things should level out and stabilize.
Right.
You know, things like I said, it's not going to suddenly be perfect. We probably go along at a level, maybe even a little dip, but then it will go like that up.
Yeah, sure. How do you think about it, Miss Hương?
So first of all, I'm very impressed. That is a question from a fifth grader at VAS. That is special. Like I keep on telling Holly that like I work at a college, so I've been to a lot of high schools, and even at high school level, kids don't ask that kind of question. So it's amazing that VAS students are reading news and following things that going on. And I know that kids your age, you guys may not have to pay for these things, but you pay attention to what's going on around you. So that's great. Now, I don't have an answer that can solve such a macroeconomic problem, but from a very, very micro perspective, my very personal perspective, one thing that I'm trying to do in these days is that I'm trying to cut back on my consumption. Yes, prices are going up, but that also means maybe it's time for me to cutting back on my milk tea, my boba milk tea that I love every day. Well, it's when things are not a necessary anymore, like a term that we've been talking a lot these days are essential goods. When things are not essential, if you ask yourself, do I really need this? Am I going to die or in pain if I don't have this? And if the answer is no, well, maybe it's time that you cut back on it a little bit, helping out with maybe not the country's economy, but your parents' economy, which is important too. So, yeah.
Yeah, same as you because I feel like when I reduce first and second cut back the cost for everything I used to buy outside, I feel like when I look at the purchase for a month, I feel like oh wow, it's dropped a lot and it save a lot of money for us too. Yeah, right? Yeah, and then student, you can see that we also have a tips to save the money from your future for anything you're gonna pay in the future, like your interest cost or you want to travel, get something like that, right? All right, so let's go to the last question today. Hello, Ati. Can I see the question? Okay, wow, so so tiny. So as an entrepreneur, how do you know when to renovate your business model to be more competitive? Competitive. Hmm. It seems like this question is sent to me because I have two of my business. But Mr. Nigel, do you want to answer this or just me?
I'll have a very short go because I think entrepreneurs are something that will really support the Vietnamese economy moving forward. I think some of it is down to really good planning and looking at the market and understanding the market and knowing what people want. Because you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody wants it, you're not going to sell it. So that's one thing. Knowing when it's time, knowing when people have got money in their pockets to spend. That's another thing. But I think basically it's something we should really look at teaching, actually, entrepreneurship. And we do teach it a little bit, to be honest with you. But I think, my last boss was an entrepreneur. He came from India with nothing, and his educational company now is worth 2.5 billion dollars. So you get it right time, right place, maybe a bit of luck, and anything can happen. But I think I'll leave it to you, Miss Helly, as the expert, before I say anything silly.
No, you will say it's really right. Actually, for me, like as an entrepreneur, when you do the strategy or you do the planning, you not just do for now, you do for like next 3 years, 5 years. So this year, even the pandemic happens from, as I remember, we start to lock down in June, right? June, July. But we do already have a plan from December last year or even January to think about like we always have like plan A, plan B, and plan C. Like for example, if plan A everything just happen normal, so we just go the whole energy for it. But plan B is gonna be like, okay, the cases still increasing every day, but we still can go out, or at least we deliver it. So we still have that plan too. But plan C is the worst case. Like for example, my my product is not food and beverage, so which is mean it's not allowed to deliver it during the lockdown. It's mean like I have to close the store and my employees have to stay at home and do nothing. So if you ask me how to renovate my business model to do it for it, I definitely have no ideas for the sale revenue and profit, because the government said you have to close the store, and then yeah, how? You just only choice that you have to sell something online. For example, you sell the course or you sell something like that, but it's not our product. So for my case, in the past 3 months, perhaps we think about the sale revenue, the profit from the company. We think more about how do we can impact and send a positive energy to our customer who is used to be our customer or going to be new a customer by pushing energy for our marketing, because marketing is something that already have a platform online, right? Like for example, you have Facebook, Instagram, website, anything's new platform, and we learn a lot from that, and we see the best result from like for example, we do the postcard connect our expert to our customer, which is to our customers to think about, okay, we not something like even the pandemic happened, we still have to face with it. We're not just something else that we can just live with it. So when the experts share lots of things like how they go through it, or even the tips of how they use creativity to change the product online. So we see the past result from our customer when they see about it, they feel like, oh, when I mention the brand, for example, they mention our brand, the in concept like diversification, they just not they don't mention more about the product anymore. They mention about, oh, I have this course, I have the postcard, I have the salary that make me feel so alive, or that me so energy to go through this tough time, right? So renovation is something not just focused on sales. Sometimes it's also sometimes you have to think about what can you do or what will you do to impact your customer, your new customer, in the new way. So that this is the time you can use your value, your creativity in the improvised environment, right? So yeah, for now, yeah, like Mr. Rachel and Miss Hood say, it's so it's so weird that I hear this question from students, because seems like they already entrepreneur, right? But
Well,
hopefully,
like I said, come and visit Sunnyside. You'll be so impressed. Our students are amazing. You're both welcome anytime.
yeah, sure. Now I'm so curious about it. Yeah. And yeah, if now I think because we have more time with your parent, maybe you can support your parent, right? Your parent could be your entrepreneur, right? So you can use this idea to tell your parent to do it during the lockdown. And okay, everything have go to the end, and we have to go to the end of this session. I really hope that you guys were able to learn some new and interesting knowledge through our sessions today. Prepare yourself and resilient spirit to continue enhancing your important values to and be ready for any upcoming challenges. On behalf of VIS, I would like to once again give our children's thanks to the speaker today. I wish you all the best in life. Always be healthy and successful. Today's Fast Talk sessions have now come to an end. And thank you for listening, and see you at the event wrap up in semester 2 to discuss what you have done from our inspiring talk today. Goodbye and see you again. So yeah, Mr. Nigel and Miss Hung, if you want to say goodbye to students, you can turn on the mic
Hey,
and stuff.
thank you, guys. Good question about when we're going to come back. We honestly can't wait to see you back on campus, but we can't do it till it's safe. Fantastic questions, guys. I'm not surprised. I know you very well. I know what you're capable of. You're amazing. Keep it up. Look forward. Be positive. Yes, you can. See you soon, I hope. Bye.
Miss Hung.
I want to echo the same thing. I've been to your campus, and now I can't wait to come back. The last time I went into campus probably 2 years ago, and I can't wait to come back to see how the students have grown. And students, thank you for being here. I know it's a lot to ask kids to sit still for 1 hour, but you guys did it and you guys asked amazing questions. I can't be any happier, and I really, really wish that I can meet some of the BAS students in person one day.
Thank you, Miss Hu and Mr. Nashel. You can do it. Okay, bye bye.
Bye, guys.